Good morning to you. Robert is out sick today. Is he really sick, Matty Poo, or is he just...
Friday the 13th. What does he have?
He has
Pescophobia?
triskaidekaphobia. Yeah, Friday the 13th. Dan Keel's here. Thanks for coming in on such short notice.
My pleasure.
Just call you like at 2 a.m. or something crazy.
It's the homework that you give me at the same time.
Exactly. I-49 back open this morning. It was tragic last night. 2 people were killed. Oh, the man accused of shooting at police officers has been arrested. We'll talk more about that. And if you're looking for work, well, Bentler Steel has some job openings. They're having a big deal today. And throughout the morning, I'm going to have to keep my panties out of a bunch because the city is spending $10,000 on, what's it called, Dan?
Shreveport Urban Film Festival. I just gave him a free plug.
Okay, $10,000. It's not even an entity. Doesn't have a license, not a registered business.
Oh, I got more.
Oh, there's so much more on that. We'll have sports with Tim Fletcher, traffic and weather on the way, too, right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Tragedy on I-49 claims 2 lives. Matt Parker with that.
2 people are dead and 2 others are injured following a late-night crash on I-49. One of those hurt is a Shreveport police officer. An SUV with 2 women inside were driving down I-49 south near Kings Highway in the wrong direction. The SUV collided with a pickup truck. The officer was behind the truck and could not avoid the accident. The 2 women from the SUV died in the wreck. The man from the pickup is suffering from life-threatening injuries. The officer was hurt, but is expected to make a full recovery. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Isaiah Martin, the man accused of shooting at police during a traffic stop on June 30th, is now behind bars. Martin was found hiding out in an apartment on Wagner Avenue. Kenneth Mitchell, whose apartment Martin was hiding in, was also arrested. Martin was taken to the hospital following his arrest to be treated for a gunshot wound he suffered during his shootout with police. A missing girl found, the caregiver now facing charges. 6-year-old Talia Wilson was reported missing by her family yesterday. She was found safe and sound in Alexandria with the woman who was supposed to be watching her, Charlotte Hodge. Hodge has now been arrested. The investigation continues. A Bossier Teens Island getaway becomes a nightmare. Blake Spatero spent nearly 10 hours fighting for his life out in the ocean. He was sitting on the shore at St. Simons Island when a riptide washed him out into the ocean. He spent the next 10 hours screaming and fighting to survive off the Georgia coast. Eventually, the teen washed ashore near a golf course and was able to get help. He remains hospitalized, but says he's blessed to be alive. If you need a job, well, Bentler Steel kicking off their job fair today. The company hosting a career fair in Bipsy's Emmett Cope Student Services Building. The event kicks off at 5 o'clock this afternoon and runs until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Bentler, hoping to find quality skilled workers, plans to hire 75 people over the next 6 months. If you're searching for a place to retire, Bankrate says you may not want to look at the Bayou State. Louisiana is listed as the 4th worst retirement destination in the country. Analyst Taylor Tepper says there's several reasons why Louisiana is at the bottom.
The overall well-being score was very, very low. Crime, it's a high crime state. Cultural vitality, the sort of cultural things to do per person, fared pretty poorly. And healthcare quality didn't do very well either.
California and New York join Louisiana in the bottom 5. South Dakota ranked number 1. Improvements to federal fisheries policy, an issue pushed by Congressman Garrett Graves, advances in the Senate as the House passed the bill strengthening fishing communities and increasing flexibility in the Fisheries Management Act. Graves says the original legislation made in the 70s may have been okay at the time, but it's now outdated.
People who like to fish are being boxed out increasingly from being able to fish in a place like Sportsman's Paradise. We certainly can't have that happen.
Graves says the bill also addresses the concerns created by the influx of imported fish. Detaining immigrant children has morphed into a surging industry in the U.S. It now reaps $1 billion a year. That's a tenfold increase over the past decade. And police in Massachusetts say 3 men seen on social media video blowing marijuana smoke in a goat's face and laughing have been charged with animal cruelty. The police chief in Taunton says his department was notified about the video, which shows the men removing the goat from an outdoor pen and putting a chain around its neck and then blowing the smoke into the goat's face. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. First check of traffic. Here's the Ruber.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
Oh, 101.7 FM, 710 kilo. I was playing air guitar, sorry.
Can you move that big bag so I can
Oh,
see your
yeah.
red light?
Forget about it. You have a little,
I have to
you
play
have a
monkey
little-
see, monkey do, and
you-
turn my mic on when you turn yours on.
I got it. Robert is out today, so Dan Keel is here.
Hey,
Local attorney. Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you. I know you put your whole day on hold.
I put my
Push
night
it
on
all
hold.
back.
I put early morning hours on hold.
I really do appreciate that. Going to give you a little inside baseball here because
Because you can.
Yeah, Robert decided he was going to call in sick today. I think he really is sick. He wasn't feeling good. I'm not sure. But
He gave a lot this week.
so yeah, it was a busy week. So I called Dan, texted you, and you said, yeah, you'll be happy to. So I appreciate that. And I thought, I'm going to get to work a few minutes early, try to get all my things taken care of, and get work ahead.
God
You hear
help
him
me.
heavy breathing over there?
Siding, I believe you call that.
People don't know, but I get here a little early. Matt's here real early.
Matt's here
at
like
the butt crack of dawn.
Before that.
Yeah, exactly. And he does a lot of stuff for me. He does a lot of my work for me, which is I'm very grateful for.
He tries to get it out of the way before 6 o'clock.
Oh, absolutely. Before I even arrive, he tries to be done.
You throw things at him at 6:03.
Yeah, and I start throwing all kind of stuff at him.
It's a
And then-
miserable job.
And then I get here and I start tweaking my news and writing because I record newscasts for all of our other stations.
Right.
And these are short little 1-minute newscasts. I mean, there's 4 or 5 stories in them.
Well, when they're done, they're short.
They're just tiny. I mean, they're little headline type newscasts, which is cool. Not too hard. It's a little difficult to edit them into 1 or 2 sentences. But I do that in the morning and I get all that lined up like I want it. And then I start. Matt produces and he points at me when he's ready to record, and I go.
Right.
Dan,
This morning, she went nowhere.
today it was a disaster. If there's any indication of how the day is going based on how it started, this is going to be deadly.
I
Because
had a black cat cross my path just right out the front door.
on Friday the 13th?
Yeah, who cares?
I started those newscasts over and over. I screwed it up. I do my little beeps in them.
They're like 60 seconds long, supposedly. They're supposed to be 60 seconds or less.
Yeah.
I had 4 minutes of audio for all of them to edit down to 60 seconds because there was a crash. Ah, crap. Beep, beep, beep. Yeah.
And the other thing in my life today that, God, I don't even want to say this on the radio because it just makes my skin itch.
Are you entering the Urban Film Festival?
No, we're going to talk more about that. Boy, we got some stuff coming up on that. But Robert makes my coffee every morning. Mm-hmm. Okay, and
Puts a little bit of Benadryl in it for you?
no. In
wish.
the last 2 days, Matt, you can testify. He's actually brought coffee to me in the room. I didn't even have to get up and go get it.
Wow.
Which is the worst thing you can do because
Bad
once you
plan.
spoil McCarty, she
Oh,
refuses to do anything on her own.
So
She
here's-
goes, somebody
That is the
did
norm.
it for me.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Robert and I are the only people in the building who drink decaf. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now he hasn't had coffee in how long, Matt? 6 months, 8 months.
Something like that. He quit drinking it a while ago.
But he goes every morning to the coffee pot and he makes a big pot of decaf coffee, knowing I'm the only one in the building who drinks it. I mean, I hate telling stories where he's sweet, but sometimes he has a moment.
Yeah.
So I go down there today with my big Yeti, ready to fill up with my coffee, and I realize, oh crud,
Robert's not here.
it's
Robert's
from
not here.
yesterday.
So I go.
And I don't
to,
know how to make coffee, so
So
it's good.
I go to the calf pot. That's all the people around here drink the caffeinated
Yeah.
coffee. So I hit the thing. I'll just drink caffeinated today. It's empty. I get 2 shots.
How'd it go?
And it's out. So I had to make.
Did you tip it over? Can you lean it a little bit like they do at the restaurants?
When it's empty, it's
It's
empty.
gone. Okay.
So and there's grounds at the bottom or something. I'm like, I don't want that nonsense. So I have to make coffee today. So I'm down there going, what button do you press? Which is the decaf? So I made coffee. I don't know how it tastes yet. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it. But you know what? I'm spoiled. I've been spoiled all my life.
21 years of a radio husband.
Yeah, and you don't realize he just does that out of habit. I mean, he's just been doing it for so long that he still does it because he knows I would gripe.
He goes to old people coffee. Does he make them coffee?
No, he goes out every Saturday with old people, and they'll go out to a restaurant.
somebody else
and eat.
makes that coffee.
Yeah, they
Well,
do.
he doesn't go out with old people. He is the old people. That's no,
I
seriously.
think he's the young guy in the crowd,
No,
isn't he?
now he is the old guy. He used to be the youngest guy in
it's
the
a
crowd,
Christian.
and then as things progressed, he is now the oldest of the bunch.
Oh my! We still have fallout from our show from a couple of days ago, with regard to the mayor and crime fighting. But we now have another issue bubbling up. Is it on our Facebook page yet, Matt?
Well, I put the question up.
Okay.
I mean, people.
Here's what we're going to talk about. Probably in the 40 segment. We may talk about it when we come back. But
We can tease a little bit.
yeah,
though.
the city council voted, I think, 4-2 to approve funding of $10,000 for what's called
Shreveport Urban Film Festival.
Shreveport Urban Film Festival. Can I enter a film in that festival?
I'm going to need to see some DNA.
Really?
Yeah.
So this film festival is only open to certain groups.
This isn't like the film prize that
It's open to anyone.
Kallenberg's put on.
And do we know much about the people that have organized the Urban Film Festival?
There's a people named Tanisha Morris, and Tanisha Morris on July the 5th formed an LLC.
Okay.
It sounds like an entertainment group. She's a writer and director and producer.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to use some cultural microdermabrasion for a moment. I think this is her hustle.
Really?
I think this is a profitable thing for her. And what the council basically, as I understand it, agreed to do is they're going to pay up to $10,000 of her expenses. And there actually are prizes. So some of her expenses are giving people money for winning.
Is she a nonprofit?
I could not find any evidence in the local records or the state records of her being, or the federal records of her being a nonprofit.
So I'm starting today. I'm going to have an Irish film festival.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be from Irish descent to enter your film, and I want $10,000 from the city
for your expenses.
For my expenses.
But we're going to audit them.
We are going to audit.
We're going to audit the expenses.
Make sure well, I'm going to go stay at nice hotels and give you my receipts.
Yeah.
This sounds fishy. And Oliver Jenkins waved a red flag as loudly as he could wave it, but no one heard him except one other council member. We're going to talk more about that throughout the morning. And another festival's brewing. I'll wait, and they've roping me in on it. It has to do with hogs. I'll tell you more about that, too. It's coming up. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Right now, here's Ruben.
Looks like I-49 South's got to clear all the way to Alexandria right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
1017 FM 710 Keel. Here's Fletchy Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. After delivering a championship this past spring, Carlos Zernis is leaving the Shreveport Mudbugs to take a coaching position with the NCAA Division I University of Alaska Fairbanks hockey squad. Zernis is the only coach the 2-year-old North American Hockey League edition of Mudbugs has had. After a playoff bid in year 1, Zernis and the Mudbugs went the distance in year 2, winning the Robertson Cup with a 2-1 win over Minot in May in the title tilt. Assistant coach Jason Soupy Campbell is expected to take over the top spot. Both Campbell and Zernis played for the Bugs during the franchise's minor league years. Oakland rallied past Houston 6-4 Thursday with a 3-run 8th inning serving as the catalyst. The A's won 3 of 4 games in Minute Maid Park, but are still 8 games behind the Astros in the American League West. Former LSU Tiger Alex Bregman continued his torrid first half of the season with a 2-run double for the Stros. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
That's sexy, Matt.
That's kind of urban contemporary or something, isn't it?
1017 FM 710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is gone today. He's out.
He's out.
Yeah, Dan Keel is here with me. Matt Parker is at the controls.
As always.
Good job over there, big guy. We're going to talk about the Urban
That's weird and creepy.
Urban Film Festival coming up at 6:40. We're going to play a segment from the City Council. That kind of will get you up to speed. It's on our Facebook page, though. Do you agree with spending $10,000 in city money? What does it say on the Facebook, Maddie?
Do you agree with the city of Shreveport giving $10,000 to an urban film festival? Kept it simple.
Are people upset?
People haven't commented on that as much as our video as the discussion is going on. One guy says figures. Another guy says, I don't see the problem. This is a great idea. I'm thinking about starting a Polish film festival. So...
if you want to send us a text message, you don't want to jump on Facebook, you can do it at the Shreveport Security Systems text line.
318-392-1884.
Dan, I did not warn you about this, and I apologize.
What else is new?
You have been paying attention to what we've been talking about with regard to crime.
Right.
And a plan or no plan or what's going on. And you really have your finger on the pulse of SPD.
I try to talk to the line people, the people who are out there actually on the front line.
What is really going on?
Well, what I get pretty regularly is there are a lot of people in the office. There are a lot of people in specialized units. There are a lot of people out trying to do their job. But we have so many calls that the general thing is don't start stuff. Don't pull people over for probable cause and investigate fully because we got too many calls backed up. So they're responding to calls. And that's the plan, is when the phone rings, someone says, I need the police. Somebody's acting suspicious, whatever's happening, they send the police. But the police seeing somebody in a certain neighborhood who might be problem children, they don't stop them for having a taillight out or whatever that they used to do.
Right.
And that, I think, is a lot of the rub, is that policing consists of looking for little crimes and turning them into discovery of bigger crimes.
Right.
And maybe people toting guns illegally, maybe people being wanted on a warrant, whatever. But we don't do a lot of that, apparently, by some policy.
Is that something the sheriff could help with?
I think, and this is where I really disagree with Alan Crump. Alan's a nice guy. He's well respected for being fair, but he's towing the mayor's line, which is basically the Chamber of Commerce. We don't have problems.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get out of this denial thing because it's offending everybody's intelligence. I heard you go off earlier this week. But what happens when the police chief says, "Oh, we're over dramatizing the effect of marked units that say state police or that say Caddo sheriffs on them, and that they might stop you." What?
Yeah.
Everybody I know, and I've been in law enforcement for a while. When I see a police officer in the rearview mirror, I checked in my driving right. You know, I got my seatbelt on.
Yeah.
Everybody does that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think bad guys do that too?
Absolutely.
And so that is total nonsense to say that having more marked units who might stop you. And by the way, I have been seeing some of that. I've been seeing the Caddo Sheriff's Office stopping people in connection with SPD, because that is one thing that I have been seeing. I'm like, wow, okay, cool.
Right.
Because in some of these neighborhoods in town, the more police that you get, if nothing else, you cause churn among the criminal enterprise.
Sure. Was I off? I try to get out of the forest. You know, sometimes you don't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
And was I off base in this whole, we're working with the sheriff on a plan where, you know, my people are meeting with his people, and then he says, no, there's no plan. And now she talks about a plan from 2 years ago. Is she redirecting?
Ollie needs to get her story straight. And I kind of agreed with you in some extent. If she would come out and say, you know, we do have a problem, but we're working on it, and here's what we're doing specifically, I could give her all the respect in the world.
Absolutely.
But there's so much obfuscation. I even have trouble saying that word. I can't believe I got it out right.
Yeah.
There's this, don't look over here, watch over here.
Right.
And it's almost like prestidigitation. It's almost like magic.
What?
Yeah, prestidigitation.
Oh, dang.
Look over here at what we're doing over here. Don't worry about this over here. Now, we do have a tendency to be more aware of crime. I'll give Greg Adams that.
Sure.
But we also have crime.
Right.
And the reality of it is perception is more important than reality, that people don't feel safe. And when Councilman Bradford or somebody else like me barking about we need to do this or need to do that, there are things that could be done so easily that would upset some people inside the Shreveport Police Department, but we could get some of those people out of the office 8 hours a week.
Yeah.
Put them in a police car, a marked car. Don't care if you're Robert Dow and you've been there for 40 freaking years. Took the drop and haven't retired yet. Get out and drive around a while.
Right.
Make some calls, interface with the public. We could put more than 170 or 200, whatever the figure is.
Whoever, depends on who you believe.
Patrolling.
Yeah, exactly. More on that throughout the morning. Also, a big topic this morning is going to be the Urban Film Festival that the city is going to spend $10,000 on. We're going to play a chunk of the city council meeting from Tuesday where Oliver Jenkins waved a red flag about this, and they didn't listen to him, essentially. That is coming up. We have the news around the corner, too. Right now, though, it is time to check in with Ruben.
Looks like I-49 South's got it clear all the way to Alexandria right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and sun today. A thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. High 95. Partly cloudy and warm with a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
of information. KEEL News now.
2 women dead, 2 others are hurt following a late-night crash on I-49. One of those hurt is a Shreveport police officer. The accident happened around 11:30 last night. An SUV with 2 women inside headed down I-49 south near Kings Highway in the wrong direction. That SUV collided with a pickup truck head-on. The officer was behind the truck and couldn't avoid the crash. The 2 women in the SUV died in the wreck. The man from the pickup is recovering, but said to have life-threatening injuries. The officer was hurt, but is expected to make a full recovery. A man accused of shooting at police has now been arrested. Matt Parker has the latest.
Isaiah Martin, the man accused of shooting at police during a traffic stop on June 30th, has been arrested. Martin was found hiding out in an apartment on Wagner Street. Kenneth Mitchell, whose apartment Martin was hiding out in, was also arrested. Martin was taken to the hospital following his arrest to be treated for a gunshot wound he suffered during a shootout with police. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A missing girl is found. A caregiver arrested. Talia Wilson, a 6-year-old girl who was reported missing by her family yesterday, was found safe and sound. Wilson was found in Alexandria with the woman who was supposed to be watching her, Charlotte Hodge. Hodge has been arrested. An investigation into the incident is ongoing. A Bossier Teens Island getaway becomes quite a nightmare. Blake Spataro spent nearly 10 hours fighting for his life in the ocean. He was sitting on the shore at St. Simons Island when a riptide washed him out into the sea. He spent the next 10 hours screaming and fighting to survive. Eventually, the teen washed ashore near a golf course and was able to get help. Spataro remains hospitalized but says he's blessed to be alive. London's Mayor Sadiq Khan has urged Brits attending protest against President Trump not to cause any trouble.
Any protest is peaceful and good-spirited. It's really important we realise that one of the things about a special relationship is, of course, we stand together at times of adversity, shoulder to shoulder, but when we think our best friend is being wrong or not meeting our high standards from them, we call them out. And that's what I think you'll see Londoners who love Americans love America, being disappointed about some of the views expressed by President Trump and calling him out.
President Trump had attacked Khan over his handling of terrorism in that city. If you need a job, well, Bentler Steel holding a job fair at Bipsy. It kicks off at 5 o'clock this afternoon and runs until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Bentler is looking to find quality skilled workers, plans to hire 75 people over the next 6 months. Louisiana in the bottom 5 for best places to retire. Bankrate's Taylor Tepper says outside of some pockets of activity, cultural activities in Louisiana are scarce.
It uses per person, so per capita, the concentration of creative activity in a region compared to the U.S. At the same time, you live in New Orleans or you live in a college town, there may be things there.
South Dakota rated the number 1 place for retirees. Fewer and fewer workplaces require ties these days, but the mayor of one California town wants them banned altogether.
The mayor of Lancaster, California, wants to ban neckties from the workplace because they restrict blood flow to the brain. Our Rex Paris says he came up with the brainstorm after reading a science blog which claimed that neckties restrict 7.5% of blood to the brain. He's not the first to address the issue. The New York City Human Rights Commission opposes neckties for a different reason, saying making men wear ties is like requiring women to wear skirts. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
The owner of a bed and breakfast in Hawaii loses her court fight. She turned away a lesbian couple who wanted to rent a room. A lower court ruled the owner discriminated, and now a higher court agrees. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
You ask and he shall deliver.
He's a genius. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is out. Dan Keel is here.
Hey.
This is the Friday the 13th, and it really doesn't bother me a lot. But there are a lot of people who, they're scared of the 13th. And I was asking, you're up in buildings all the time. Is there a 13th floor anywhere in Shreveport?
I've never seen one.
I haven't either. You get on the elevators and it goes from 12 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
People are. I was looking just a minute ago on people's number one fear. Fear of 13 is it.
There actually is a 13th floor. They just don't call it that.
Yeah, it's the 14th, wouldn't it? No, it's what is it? The 12th? You get to.
Well, they call it the 14th.
It's 14th. Yeah, that's right. Because you have a 12th, and then you'd skip 13, and
but you don't actually skip a floor.
You don't.
You just skip
it's not like there's a
label.
dead floor sitting there. That's
Right.
just number 13.
No man's land.
You had an encounter today already with a black cat.
Yeah, I rescued a couple kitties, little feral. I'm going to name one of them Will, by the way. But anyway, a couple feral kittens out of the defunct pool in my backyard.
Oh.
And the mama is a black cat. And so when I went out this morning to check on the little one, the mama went zing right in front of me. I'm like, good job. Okay. I walked under a ladder yesterday. I stood on a roof during a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You want me to bring my umbrella in here and open it up? And
Yeah,
do
we
the
can break
rest
some
of-
mirrors, maybe.
Yeah, let's do that. No,
No.
let's not do that. Triskaidekaphobia is the word, and I always mess it up.
That's what Robert has today?
Yeah, I think he's got triskaidekaphobia, so he has stayed home. He's going to miss quite the discussion, and Matt, again, champed it up this morning, and he found the exact section I wanted from the Shreveport City Council meeting on Tuesday with regard to the Urban Film Festival.
Shreveport Urban Film Festival.
And spending city money to fund this festival. And we're going to play a section of that. We welcome your comments on our Facebook page with regard to the Shreveport Urban Film Festival. You can also text us on the Shreveport Security Systems text line.
318-392-1884.
Yep, do that. We would love to hear your comments. May read some of them on the air. You never know. We'll be talking about that festival coming up next. Right now, here's Ruben with a check of traffic.
Looks like I-49 South's got it clear all the way to Alexandria right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and sun today. A thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. High 95. Partly cloudy and warm with a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is off today. Dan Keel is here.
Don't hurt yourself over there.
I'm telling you, I am so jamming. Thank you, Matt. You're doing a great job today, by the way, unlike most days. But so, that was a backhanded. Sorry, Matt. That was mean. Matt's been working hard this morning, and we've got a section of the Shreveport City Council meeting this week. A woman has come to the council requesting $10,000 to help pay expenses for what's called the Shreveport Urban Film Festival. Folks who can enter this film festival, do they have to be African American? Does it have to be a film about African Americans? Do we know anything about her rules?
Her rules seem to be exclusive.
Okay, so I could not enter a film.
I don't know whether you're 1/24th or not.
Oh.
You might be able to pull that off.
Okay.
But how do they prove it? And that's a whole other story. But this woman, Tanisha Morris.
Okay.
I found her. I mean, like, I'm an expert in Facebook trending.
Oh, you're good.
That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tanisha Morris Entertainment is one of her photographs. This woman sounds to me like she's a for-profit operation.
Okay.
She filed an LLC with the state on July the 5th, which sounds like a business.
Sure.
And then she went to the city council with Stephanie Lynch's blessing and asked for money for a nonprofit for this operation to reimburse her expenses.
But it's not a nonprofit.
I don't see any. I don't see how in the world it can be a nonprofit, even if that was her intent after she left the meeting, to get it pulled off by the end of this month.
Yeah. Well, Oliver Jenkins waved some red flags with regard to this request during the meeting. We'll talk more about his comments, but I want you to hear some of the things that he waved a flag about.
There is obviously either dialogue or terminology that needs to be cleared up. Number one, it's not that they're not a 501c3. They are not a recognized entity. We have never, to my knowledge, or am I aware of any public body given money to a non-recognized entity. That there may be a scenario out there.
When you say unrecognized,
there's no organization. There is Urban Film Festival doesn't exist as an organization. Ultimately, the check, if we were going to write a check today, would go to this woman's name. Now, let me start first by saying I think it's unfair that she's in this position a little bit, so I don't want to discredit her or say that I'm against her organization. But this is an absolute disaster. I've never been involved, whether the military, the city, public entity, private entities, where somebody has given somebody a $10,000 check 10 days before the body that gave them had ever even heard of the organization. Nobody up here yesterday had ever even heard of this group. We are charting a course that, frankly, it would be difficult to justify why this is a good steward of public funds. I'm not saying whether she's a good person or not, or whether she has a good idea, but this is a timeline that we have multiple avenues where people can receive grant money. None of them are being pursued in this particular instance. This is it's such a divergence from what we've done in the past. And to give an idea of scale, there is one entity that has given money to this group. They've given $150. $150. We are considering giving $10,000. I won't do the math of how many times more that is. That is out of the bounds. Even using the Louisiana Film Prize as an example, they were a registered agent in the Secretary of State prior to even commencing this process. I'm not saying that this is a bad person, but we have some level of accountability of good stewards of public money. This one doesn't even meet the threshold of a third party coming in and examining how we get through allocating this dollars. I mean, I will say, we have not had anybody arrested on this council. I am very concerned that if something goes wrong with this whole discussion, that we could be held liable for contributing to an organization that isn't even formed. Secondly, I asked for a detailed plan of what this $10,000 is for. She was not able to produce that. Is she reliant on this $10,000 to have her project in 10 days? No, of course not. She admitted she had it all funded already. I am all for this person putting in an application for 2019 grant funding, having her establish whether she's a 501c3 by then or not, but establishing an organization that we can support. But this is absolutely way out of bounds for what this organization or any public entity that I'm aware of has done at any time recently.
More on that is coming up. 1017 FM 710 Keel right now. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
.1017 FM 710 Keel. Here is Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. After delivering a championship this past spring, Carlos Zernis is leaving the Shreveport Mudbugs to take a coaching position with the NCAA Division I University of Alaska Fairbanks hockey squad. Zernis is the only coach the 2-year-old North American Hockey League edition of Mudbugs has had. After a playoff bid in year one, Zernis and the Mudbugs went the distance in year two, winning the Robertson Cup with a 2-1 win over Minot in May in the title tilt. Assistant coach Jason Soupy Campbell is expected to take over the top spot. Both Campbell and Zernis played for the Bugs during the franchise's minor league years. Oakland rallied past Houston 6-4 Thursday with a 3-run eighth inning serving as the catalyst. The A's won 3 of 4 games in Minute Maid Park, but are still 8 games behind the Astros in the American League West. Former LSU Tiger Alex Bregman continued his torrid first half of the season with a 2-run double for the Stros. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Stop it, you boys.
Do you know the dates of GeekCon? There's a stack of posters literally right behind
It's
you.
hidden under all my junk. 1017 FM,
Jesus.
710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is on vacay today. I think he's ill. I'm not sure. He's sick of me. I know that.
Aren't we all?
He had a rough week.
Yeah, he did. Dan Keel is in studio. Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
I want to tell you, since this is Friday the 13th,
It's your lucky day.
Triskaidekaphobia Day. We're having a Friday the 13th sale on GeekCon tickets today only, online only, and it begins at 9. The code word Friday, and you will save 13% off your entire order. Now, the code does not have to be in all caps. Just put Friday in there. You'll get 13% off of your GeekCon tickets. You know you're going to go. You know the kids, grandkids want to go. GeekCon is coming up when? I got to turn around and look at the poster.
August 17th through 19th at the Shreveport Convention Center in big, bold letters, literally 4 inches behind your head.
People who don't, we got to get out, don't we?
Yes, we got to go.
We got to stop. We'll stop. We'll talk more about it coming up on 1017 FM, 710 Keel.
Okay, folks, a couple things you need to know to put today's update in context. First, it's California. Second, the guy doing it is a Democrat, and not just any Democrat. Ian Calderon is the Democrat majority leader of California's Assembly. Powerful guy. He's also a man on a mission. He doesn't like straws, and he's determined to limit straw usage in California. So Ian Calderon is pushing a bill through the Assembly that will bar waiters from giving out plastic straws in restaurants unless a customer specifically asks for one. If a waiter in a California restaurant violates this law and voluntarily brings a customer a straw, that waiter will face a $1,000 fine and could spend up to 6 months in jail. Calderon issued a press release to explain why he's become the new straw man in California. He says, we need to create awareness around the issue of one-time use plastic straws and its detrimental effects on our landfills, waterways, and oceans. So there you have it. Thanks to Ian Calderon, we finally know the culprit. The reason? Living standards in California are in decline. It's not excessively high taxes. It's not crime. It's not being overrun with illegal immigration. It's not high prices or massive homelessness. It's not poop in the streets. It's straws. And that should be the last straw. But it won't be, because it's California. It'll be accepted and they'll smile about it. Fools. Say, folks, last month I told you all about the big savings during Mahindra Dealer Days. Well, I've got some great news. My good friends at Mahindra have extended Dealer Day savings into July. That means it is not too late to hurry into your local Mahindra dealer for incredible summer savings on Mahindra's subcompact, compact, and utility tractors, plus a full line of utility vehicles. And Mahindra's long-lasting powertrain warranties still come standard. So if you missed out last month, don't wait another day. Care for the land you love with the tractors and UTVs that I recommend, Mahindra. To learn more about the world's #1 selling tractor and huge Dealer Day savings, visit MahindraUSA.com.
Take advantage of rock-bottom prices and test drive a Mahindra today at Kelly Tractor and Equipment in Longview, or visit kellytractor.net. That's kellytractor.net.
Starting things off looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, hot and humid, about 100 for the high today. Heat index well above that.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. Robert is off today. Got my buddy Dan KEEL in studio.
Good morning.
Matt Parker is at the command center. Lots to do today. We're going to talk more about that Urban Film Festival, the city providing funding for that. But only African Americans can enter films in this festival.
Black people.
Is that how we're supposed to say black people now? Okay.
Yeah, just for you to understand.
And most of the films aren't even made here locally. That's part of the problem I have with it.
2 of 12 were.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Coming up in the news, tragedy on I-49. 2 women are dead. We'll talk more about that. Quite a scare for a Bossier teenager while on vacation. And how's Louisiana rank in terms of places to retire? I'll tell you more about that, too. All that plus Tim Fletcher sports, traffic, and weather on the way as well, right here from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
2 people dead, 2 others hurt following a late-night crash on I-49. One of those hurt is a Shreveport police officer. According to reports, the accident happened around 11:30 last night. An SUV with 2 women inside headed down I-49 south near Kings Highway in the wrong direction. The SUV collided with a pickup truck. The officer was behind that truck and couldn't avoid the crash. The 2 women in the SUV died. The man from the pickup suffering from life-threatening injuries. The officer was hurt, but is expected to make a full recovery. Louisiana hoping to hold off executing felons for at least another year as the state continues debating ethics of the death penalty protocols.
Louisiana's death penalty has been halted ever since a lawsuit filed in 2014 challenged the state's use of lethal injections, and the court has continually blocked the use of the death penalty, but now an attorney for the state's government is asking that judge to stay all death penalty cases in the state by another year. Louisiana officials have had to rewrite their execution protocols many times this decade due to drug shortages that have also affected other states. Eben Brown, Fox News.
A Bossier teen's island getaway becomes quite the nightmare. Blake Spatero spent nearly 10 hours fighting for his life out in the ocean. He was sitting on the shore at St. Simons Island when a riptide washed him out. Spatero spent the next 10 hours screaming and fighting to survive off the Georgia coast. Eventually, he washed ashore near a golf course. He is going to be okay. A missing girl is found. Now the caregiver arrested. Matt Parker with that.
Talia Wilson, a 6-year-old girl who was reported missing by her family Thursday afternoon, was found safe and sound. Wilson was found in Alexandria with the woman who was supposed to be watching her, Charlotte Hodge. Hodge has been arrested. An investigation into the incident is ongoing. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
If you're looking for work, well, Bentler Steel kicking off their job fair today. It's happening at Bipsy, kicking off at 5 o'clock this afternoon and runs until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Bentler hoping to find quality skilled workers and plans to hire 75 people over the next 6 months. If you're looking for a place to retire, well, Bankrate.com says Louisiana is near the bottom of the list. Taylor Tepper says South Dakota is rated the #1 place for retirees and explains how the barren far north might be more appealing than our sportsman's paradise.
It fared very well in taxes. It's relatively low cost of living, good healthcare quality, even though the weather is not very good.
California and New York also in the bottom 5, along with Louisiana. President Trump says he feels unwelcome in London because of protests, including plans to fly a giant balloon over Parliament today that depicts him as an angry baby in a diaper. Your word of the day today is triskaidekaphobia, fear of Friday the 13th. Hope you're not too scared. And the Montgomery Biscuits minor league baseball team doing a promotion targeting millennials. They're handing out participation ribbons for everyone who shows up. They'll also have a napping station, a selfie station, and serving lots of avocados. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here is the Rubinator.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic on Kings Highway near Line Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Benton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. Matt is just working his fingers to the bone over there.
He's fun when he's testy, isn't he?
He is. He
I'm
really
done.
is. If you could hear him
Oh, you
behind
couldn't.
the
We had the
scene,
Jack Spring button for that.
we would have to Jack Spring him all over the place because he's just crazy.
I'm crazy?
There's this little baseball team in Montgomery, Alabama.
It's not little. It's a AA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Okay. And they're having, what is their night called?
Millennial Night.
Millennial Night. It's the Montgomery Biscuits. I love that name, by the way. Love that name. They're passing out to everyone who shows up at the game a participation ribbon for everyone who comes to the game.
Are they being facetious?
Yes.
They are very much so.
See, they stole this idea from a minor league soccer team.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know, they got a lot of backlash for this because they had the participation ribbons. There's a nap station, a selfie station. Everybody gets free avocados.
And millennials are angry. They're like, you're making fun of us.
It's in their face.
You're calling us out and calling us
Maybe they need
wusses.
to get like a safe zone or some sort
A
of
safe zone, yeah.
non-trigger room.
Well, see, it's not like they're having baby boomer night where all the old people have to leave at the 7th inning stretch. I mean, so I can see why
That would be
people
good too.
might be upset by that.
Oh boy! But so I started doing a little work on millennials and some of the problems with, and I don't even know
what is a millennial,
what age you go to. I think Greg's a millennial. I think he's on the cusp.
He says he's on the cusp.
Yeah, he's on the cusp.
He's waxing gibbous or
Matt's
something.
a millennial, correct? Matt, you're a millennial, right?
Only by technical definition.
Yeah, because your brain and everything you do is not a millennial.
He's an old man, really.
So yeah, he really is. So I found some things that millennials do wrong. And this is pretty much related to their jobs. And if you manage a millennial or you are a millennial, you'll know this. You'll have seen it. I see this every day around here. These M's are crazy about things they do at work that I think, have you lost your freaking mind? That's not how you behave at work. This is a workplace. Top on the list, and I think this was an Entrepreneur article. Tops on the list is that these little duty heads go in and make demands of the boss instead of, hey, they go in and tell, I want to do this. This is what we want to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. You know, it's not your company. It's not your name on the check. You have to go in and sell your idea. Pitch it.
Yeah.
Make the boss a believer in what you want to do. You don't go in and say, here's what I'm doing, with no justification.
Right.
These snowflakes, they just don't get it. Another thing that drives me nuts is they know everything. They're so overconfident in everything they do. They think they're the only. I know you're going
They
crazy.
haven't had their butt kicked or something.
But that's not age
They need their butts
exclusive.
kicked.
Yeah.
I can think of a certain 60-plus-year-old man who thinks he knows everything and his idea is the best idea all the time.
But he's not overconfident. You can criticize
challenge him, right?
If you criticize him about something,
because he has had his butt kicked.
yeah, he will. Yeah, oh yeah, he's had his butt kicked over and over again, and probably will next week again too. But you can challenge him on something and
Right.
say you did that wrong, and he might argue with you.
Oh,
but
he will argue with you.
Oh, he will argue with
and
you.
find excuses just like you're saying millennials.
But he won't do
He'll
that
come
again.
around.
He
Right.
won't do that again.
Right.
He'll fix the problem.
We pick on Bob, but he's pretty good.
Yeah. This is the other thing about millennials that drives me crazy. Bob really fits a lot of these, doesn't he?
That's what I'm saying. It's not a millennial thing.
Talking more than listening. They just
No, Robert J. Wright.
they just don't. He's a millennial at heart, and you're an old guy at heart.
Yeah,
Y'all
it's-
have like
it's role reversal.
You've like switched your innards somehow.
I don't want to think about that. And
I don't understand
swapping
it.
things with Bob.
Another item on this list from Entrepreneur. I see this a lot, and not necessarily assuming that a certain behavior or action is okay.
That's like the first thing you said.
Yeah, and Matt and I see this a lot in Robert. Certain things he does and says really are not okay. They're not okay.
I heard that earlier this week, and I
Yeah.
won't bring it back up.
Again, you're making my point that this isn't just a millennial thing. We're talking about
Or Robert's a millennial.
Robert, I don't do
That's a
this
possibility.
stuff.
No, you're
I
grown up.
don't do
Hold
this.
on,
You're a mature adult.
Hold on. If we ran tape
I'm
on
not
you,
exhibiting these millennial traits.
She kick a bear.
yeah, you're.
I don't go in and demand things my way. I go ask.
Some of these
You
things
bring
are-
the boss lady in here, the boss man in here, and you say, does Erin ever go in there and demand things?
Yes, let's bring her in here. I can think of plenty of times where you took a certain company's credit card, bought things, and went, "Oh, is this okay?"
So maybe this is a testosterone thing rather than a millennial thing.
Are you saying Erin's full of testosterone?
Some days I am, and I'm proud of that.
You got a pair.
I do exhibit overconfidence occasionally. I do
Bingo.
that. I do that. But this...
Again, it's not an age thing. It's a people thing.
This sounds like you
And
Yeah.
people are just stereotyping millennials.
Oh, you're just a
incorrectly.
snowflake.
You're age prejudiced.
Let's
That's what
go
you
get
are.
him a ribbon because he's
You're
in
an
the
ageist.
room. Am I an ageist?
You're an
Is that what
ageist.
it is?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I just, some of these snowflakes, just go to the game and get your ribbon and take your selfie and be happy.
They're trying to sell tickets, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to sell a ton of it because of it. And there may even be snowflake protesters outside. I say give all the snowflakes a ribbon too for showing up, even if they don't go to the game.
Well, after the backlash, that is something. They're doing a quote-unquote millennial think tank where if you show up to suggest how they could improve things, you could win free tickets. Just
I
FYI.
think that's good. The Mudbugs might do this. This is not a bad idea. And we have some Mudbugs news coming up. We'll talk about that when we get back because a pretty big change there. And the Shreveport Urban Film Festival has gotten funding from the city. You have to be African American to submit a film to this film festival. It's coming up later this month. Is it a legal decision? Is it a wise decision to use city money for this? City Councilman Oliver Jenkins very much opposed to it. He's going to join us at 7:40 to talk about it.
Every legislation has an out.
Oh yeah,
and so we may have to ask about that too.
Yeah, you found some language where we may not have to spend the money, so we'll work on that too. That's all coming up right here, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Right now, here's Ruby.
The intersection at Hearn Avenue and Lakeshore Drive is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we have some traffic delays on Hamilton Road near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here is Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. After delivering a championship this past spring, Carlos Zernis is leaving the Shreveport Mudbugs to take a coaching position with the NCAA Division I University of Alaska Fairbanks hockey squad. Zernis is the only coach the 2-year-old North American Hockey League edition of Mudbugs has had. After a playoff bid in year one, Zernis and the Mudbugs went the distance in year two, winning the Robertson Cup with a 2-1 win over Minot in May in the title tilt. Assistant coach Jason Soupy Campbell is expected to take over the top spot. Both Campbell and Zernis played for the Bugs during the franchise's minor league years. Oakland rallied past Houston 6-4 Thursday with a 3-run eighth inning serving as the catalyst. The A's won 3 of 4 games in Minute Maid Park, but are still 8 games behind the Astros in the American League West. Former LSU Tiger Alex Bregman continued his torrid first half of the season with a 2-run double for the Stros. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning. Friday the 13th. Dan Keel is here.
Our lucky day.
I think Robert walked under a ladder and tripped, and I'm not sure what happened to him.
I'm going to watch the movie Friday tonight, I think, too.
Are you?
Yeah.
I don't. Is
I
that
have
a
it on
scary
VHS.
movie?
No, it's a funny movie.
Oh, okay. I'll have to go watch that.
Next Friday and Friday after, whatever the sequels were, they
Yeah.
weren't near as good as the original.
I can't watch the Friday the 13th movies.
Oh, no, I
any
don't
of
watch
those
those
things.
either.
They're too scary for
I
me.
love them.
We don't have another Friday the 13th this year, by the way. This is our last one. Our next one is September of next year. So
over
this
a year.
is it. This is it. So yeah, we got a long way to wait.
So
I got to tell you a little bit about, you've been doing, Dan, you really are good at this research stuff. I really need to let you.
I'm a Google expert.
You really are. This Shreveport Urban Film Festival is coming up Saturday, July 28th. It's at Crystal Stairs on Texas. Tickets are $20. They're going to showcase 12 short films by emerging African-American writers and directors from around the country. I think that's absolutely wonderful.
I like black films.
It's a
Some of the
great
best
idea.
movies you can watch are black
Absolutely,
films.
it's a great idea. I think it's wonderful. I wish more of the movies had been made locally, because I think only 2 of them are made here locally.
Right.
My problem is that you have now, the city council on a 4-2 vote voted for funding for this festival.
I think they're getting hustled by a very ingenious entrepreneurial young lady.
And her name is?
Tanisha Morris.
Okay.
Tanisha Morris has Tanisha Morris Entertainment, and she has a door with her name stuck on it.
Okay. She's nonprofit?
I don't think so. No evidence of that.
I understand she is attempting to get nonprofit status. But
Because
the city,
somebody told her she had to do that to meet this
city requirements,
yeah.
to get the $10,000 in funding. Now, I am told that she will have to set up a fiscal agent, which would be a group like SRAC or somebody else that would step in and say, we'll handle the money for her, make sure it's accounted for.
So we could give the money to a nonprofit, and then she could reimburse herself for her expenses if she doesn't make the money she's
and
trying
the
to make?
nonprofit would dole it out to her, is the way I'm told.
The way that the proposal was on the agenda is Will Bradford, the city attorney, has to approve.
Right, and that is
may be the out.
That's a safeguard for this, whether or not she'll
Right.
actually get the money. My problem is, you've booked a venue, you have these films all made already, so she's been planning for this for, you have films made that have entered.
Oh yeah.
So this has been planned for a long time. Why are we now rushing this to get city funding here 2 weeks out? I mean, this just passed Tuesday before the Shreveport City Council, and they put a rush job on it.
And the little problem she's got is trying to put lipstick on that nonprofit pig. The public funds or property of the city shall not be donated to any for-profit organization, business, or venture. And it shall be not donated, loaned, or pledged to any person except for public purposes.
Right. I got Stephanie Lynch was pushing this idea, and she said, and I'm quoting her now, she'll join us in the 8 o'clock hour.
Can we ask her if this is somehow another discriminating against people on the basis of race?
We actually can. She said when Jeffrey Kallenberg started, he was not a nonprofit either. I secured funding from the commission, and we made SRAC the fiscal agent.
Did you have to have
until he formed his nonprofit?
Did you have to have Jewish heritage to be in that thing?
No, you didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you didn't. You didn't. Then she said, I'll go on, I'll read this quote from her. Seems some people have a problem with the U word, urban. If it had gay, Polish, or Jewish, as other festivals are named, there would not be an issue. Do you agree with that?
The statute I'm reading says you can't discriminate against people for race, color, sex, national origin, or religion. It doesn't say sexual orientation or preference. So my legal problem doesn't apply to that. So no, I don't agree with her.
But white people can attend, so I can kind of...
Can a white person submit a film?
It doesn't sound like it.
Can they win $1,000 of city money?
It's sticky. It's real sticky. It's a slippery slope.
It doesn't pass the smell test.
Well,
yeah.
I think at least my big issue is that they kind of are rushing it along instead of like all right, let's plan this for next year so we can get all of our ducks in a row and maybe, you know, have more of the movies filmed here and have a larger selection than 10 films. And, you know, because all those other enterprises that Miss Stephanie was talking about, Film Prize, you know, the lesbian gay film festival that they do, the Miss
Polish films,
the Miss USA, all that stuff brought in a lot of money to the city. And it was well planned in advance where, hey, we're going to do this. Here's how much money we think we're going to bring in. There's a plan as opposed to, you know, our things next week. Can I get a check?
Right.
Well, this thing may be a great idea, but if it's one person's way to make a buck,
right,
and it's city bucks, there's a problem.
There could be a problem. Oliver Jenkins waved some red flags about it. He's going to join us at 7:40. It looks like Stephanie Lynch will join us in the 8 o'clock hour because she has a different point of view, and she'll share that with us. And she's been sharing some of her comments on our
she's
Facebook
all over the Facebook page.
Yeah, you can send us a text if you'd like. The Shreveport Security Systems text line
318-392-1884.
We'll be talking more about it throughout the morning right here, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Right now, here's the Ruby.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Hearn Avenue near Greenwood Road. And we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
2 women dead, 2 others are hurt following a late-night crash on I-49. One of those hurt is a Shreveport police officer. The accident happened around 11:30 last night. An SUV with 2 women inside headed down I-49 south near Kings Highway in the wrong direction. That SUV collided with a pickup truck head-on. The officer was behind the truck and couldn't avoid the crash. The 2 women in the SUV died in the wreck. The man from the pickup is recovering, but said to have life-threatening injuries. The officer was hurt, but is expected to make a full recovery. A man accused of shooting at police has now been arrested. Matt Parker has the latest.
Isaiah Martin, the man accused of shooting at police during a traffic stop on June 30th, has been arrested. Martin was found hiding out in an apartment on Wagner Street. Kenneth Mitchell, whose apartment Martin was hiding out in, was also arrested. Martin was taken to the hospital following his arrest to be treated for a gunshot wound he suffered during a shootout with police. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
A missing girl is found. A caregiver arrested. Talia Wilson, a 6-year-old girl who was reported missing by her family yesterday, was found safe and sound. Wilson was found in Alexandria with the woman who was supposed to be watching her, Charlotte Hodge. Hodge has been arrested. An investigation into the incident is ongoing. A Bossier teen's island getaway becomes quite a nightmare. Blake Spataro spent nearly 10 hours fighting for his life in the ocean. He was sitting on the shore at St. Simons Island when a riptide washed him out into the sea. He spent the next 10 hours screaming and fighting to survive. Eventually, the teen washed ashore near a golf course and was able to get help. Spatero remains hospitalized but says he's blessed to be alive. London's Mayor Sadiq Khan has urged Brits attending protest against President Trump not to cause any trouble.
Any protest is peaceful and good-spirited. It's really important we realise that one of the things about a special relationship is, of course, we stand together at times of adversity, shoulder to shoulder, but when we think our best friend is being wrong or not meeting our high standards from them, we call them out. And that's what I think you'll see Londoners who love Americans love America, being disappointed about some of the views expressed by President Trump and calling him out.
President Trump had attacked Khan over his handling of terrorism in that city. If you need a job, well, Bentler Steel holding a job fair at Bipsy. It kicks off at 5 o'clock this afternoon and runs until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Bentler is looking to find quality skilled workers, plans to hire 75 people over the next 6 months. Louisiana in the bottom 5 for best places to retire. Bankrate's Taylor Tepper says outside of some pockets of activity, cultural activities in Louisiana are scarce.
It uses per person, so per capita, the concentration of creative activity in a region compared to the U.S. At the same time, if you live in New Orleans or you live in a college town, there may be things there.
South Dakota rated the number 1 place for retirees. Fewer and fewer workplaces require ties these days, but the mayor of one California town wants them banned altogether.
The mayor of Lancaster, California, wants to ban neckties from the workplace because they restrict blood flow to the brain. Our Rex Paris says he came up with the brainstorm after reading a science blog which claimed that neckties restrict 7.5% of blood to the brain. He's not the first to address the issue. The New York City Human Rights Commission opposes neckties for a different reason, saying making men wear ties is like requiring women to wear skirts. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
The owner of a bed and breakfast in Hawaii loses her court fight. She turned away a lesbian couple who wanted to rent a room. A lower court ruled the owner discriminated, and now a higher court agrees. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is out today. Dan Keel is here.
Hey.
Matt Parker is here. Listening to the news a moment ago, this town, Lancaster, California, the mayor wants to do away with neckties at all businesses. No more men are required to wear neckties. Dan, who's required anymore to wear them?
The first group we thought of were lawyers. This guy says that it cuts off oxygen to your brain. And I'm thinking that maybe some of the lawyers I know, that might be right.
That's not nice. That is not. When did men start wear? What man was the first guy who said, "You know what? I'm going to put this thing around my neck and tie it tight and make it look good"?
I think it was a Croatian cravat.
Was it?
Back in like 1630s.
The Croats. Here they go
Croats.
again.
Yep.
Wow. I did not know that.
But then it's evolved through the French and the British, and apparently maybe horsemen tied a tie, a knot in their tie, while they were holding the reins of horses in the other.
Oh, you know so much useless information.
Google.
We'll be talking about the Shreveport Urban Film Festival and city funding for that festival with City Councilman Oliver Jenkins, who's waving lots of red flags about it. That is coming up next right here on 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Right now, here's Ruben.
The intersection at Uri Drive and East Kings Highway is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and sun today. A thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. High 95. Partly cloudy and warm with a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning.
That was causing me to spaz.
Robert is off today. I got Dan Keel in studio with me, and we're joined by Shreveport Councilman Oliver Jenkins, who Tuesday, I don't see you get agitated very often. You were clearly agitated Tuesday regarding this Shreveport Urban Film Festival and city funding for this festival of $10,000. What is your primary issue with this funding?
Okay, and Erin, appreciate you leading in that way, because key thing is I don't have any objection to the individual, her initiative, however, she had this idea, and honestly, she said, I didn't know anything about money from the city of Shreveport, and I was told I could come ask for it. My issue is the process. We as a government entity should not be in a position where we can give money to a non-recognized organization. I mean, that seems crazy to me, but I think the first line of research or due diligence before writing a check should be, is the company or group organization registered with the Secretary of State? And then, move on from there. Are they a 501c3, what have you, and can they actually receive government funding, et cetera, et cetera? And unfortunately, in this case, she did not have a registered organization with the Secretary of State. So, that's my biggest issue. And then how we can decide in a matter of, 48 hours that we should give away $10,000, which is a significant amount of money, in my opinion, in terms of civic appropriation, with very little background provided to us.
Part of the code says public funds or property of the city shall not be donated to any for-profit organization, business, or venture. It would have been prudent, I would have thought, for whoever was helping her push this to say, you got to be nonprofit first.
Well, so there is some, in some of our, I will say, policies and procedures, that to receive 501c3, To receive funds from civic appropriations, you need to be a 501c3. Historically, we have made, I don't want to say exceptions, we have other fiscal agents who are 501c3s who receive money and then are charged through a cooperative endeavor agreement to, donate those funds to the respective organization. But yes, at a minimum, given all that said, frankly, that fiscal agent should have been the one requesting the funds if that was indeed the case.
If you had a nonprofit operation like Cyport, or you had something that needed a bridge, I guess is what you might call that interim nonprofit. That's a little different, though, isn't it, than this young lady who seems to be very entrepreneurial?
Yes. Now, the other part of the objection to me is we have a very codified process to apply for civic appropriation. That process begins July or August of one year. People put in a fairly extensive application, allows us to do some, vetting due diligence, ultimately gets put before a committee in January, and then of that civic appropriation budget is allocated accordingly. And so and I honestly think that she was willing in her discussion to, yes, maybe this is too premature. We would, I'd be happy to apply next year. I thought that seemed like a reasonable approach. Unfortunately, some people had other ideas.
Your issue is not with the urban, no. that it's for African American filmmakers, etc. But in the code, it clearly says it's unlawful, blah blah blah, to provide funding for any agency which discriminates against persons by reason of race, color, sex, national origin, or religion. Is this an event that people could say this is only open to a certain ethnic group?
I try to stay out of the legal interpretation business, but let me say that what she said was that the films reviewed needed either an African-American director or producer, I believe. Not that anybody who attends the festival needed to be African-American. So whether that's,
but that's not your issue,
element
right?
of discrimination, I'm not sure. But I think that may be being a little bit misconstrued out in the public right now in terms of she didn't say when she spoke that, non-African Americans would not be allowed. It was really the selection of the prize. So
I have a little bit of an issue in that only 2 of the films were actually filmed locally. I mean, if you're going to, the whole purpose of providing funding is to spark interest in economic development and generate some buzz here in town, and only 2 of the films were made locally. Is that accurate?
That is what she said. Yes, I think that, and I hate to pit one film festival against another, because I'm not in the film business, and I'm all for whatever is going to, be to the benefit of this community. But yes, certainly the distinguishing feature that the Film Prize has from an economic development standpoint is their point is every film needs to be filmed in, I believe, Shreveport or Northwest Louisiana. That was not one of the criteria in this Women's Film Prize. That being said, if you bring in, hundreds or thousands of people for a film weekend, there's economic development there. She admittedly said that this is kind of her first year, and, she was hoping to have a good audience, but she didn't necessarily suggest she was going to have 1,000 people from out of town come in. So,
talking to Councilman Oliver Jenkins, you said something during the meeting the other day, and I don't have a life, so I was watching. You said, during my 7 years on this council, none of us have gone to jail. This worries you that this may, in fact, be illegal. That's what it sounded like you were saying. Was I listening to the right guy?
Well, let me say, I probably should have phrased it differently. But in essence, the question is, what as stewards of public funds, what is it our responsibility to make sure that those funds are used lawfully and accounted for? And that, in this case, since we weren't, we were actually providing these funds to an intermediary or potentially an intermediary, I had some, significant concern about what the liability for us as a council or as a government agency to have we done our checks and balances to ensure the funds would be expended properly. And, once again, I've never been involved, I said this clearly, with an organization that in a matter of 48 hours, who had never heard of the requesting organization, turn around and dole out, $10,000 10 days before the event. I mean, I think that's very much atypical, unusual, whether public or private body.
If you were a betting man, do you think this is going to happen? Is she going to get the money?
I really don't know. I think that somebody who is a fiscal agent, is going to need to do some due diligence because they're taking the liability on it. And I'm a certain level of concern, if I was a fiscal agent, that I have an adequate amount of time to make sure, understand what the $10,000 is going to, how is it going to be paid to, who's writing checks, am I taking receipts from an individual and just paying that individual? There's a lot more to it at this point. I don't know. I think there's a chance, but, for the sake of everybody, including her, I'd rather see her just apply next year as part of the process.
Right? Would you ask the mayor to veto this? Have you thought about it?
So that's a good question. I'm not sure if the mayor can veto it. So I'm not 100% sure how this is written because the funds are already in this particular bucket. So the funds have already been allocated. That's why it's a one reader. Can the mayor veto it? I'm assuming she can. Obviously, if she vetoes it, the opportunity for the council to try to override the veto is really not there in the sense that the date of our next council meeting would be so close to the festival that, she would never be able to receive the funds. So, don't know.
Gotcha. Oliver Jenkins, Shreveport City Council member, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Okay, you take care.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. He'll be back with you on Monday. Right now, though, we got to check in with our boy Ruby.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Milam Street near Blanchard Road. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here is Timmy.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. After delivering a championship this past spring, Carlos Zernis is leaving the Shreveport Mudbugs to take a coaching position with the NCAA Division I University of Alaska Fairbanks hockey squad. Zernis is the only coach the 2-year-old North American Hockey League edition of Mudbugs has had. After a playoff bid in year 1, Zernis and the Mudbugs went the distance in year 2, winning the Robertson Cup with a 2-1 win over Minot in May in the title tilt. Assistant coach Jason Soupy Campbell is expected to take over the top spot. Both Campbell and Zernis played for the Bugs during the franchise's minor league years. Oakland rallied past Houston 6-4 Thursday with a 3-run 8th inning serving as the catalyst. The A's won 3 of 4 games in Minute Maid Park, but are still 8 games behind the Astros in the American League West. Former LSU Tiger Alex Bregman continued his torrid first half of the season with a 2-run double for the Stros. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is off today. Dan Keel is here.
Bet.
I'm getting a lot of texts. I got this one from someone who's been involved with nonprofits for years. No organization I've ever been affiliated with honors requests that quickly. It's an annual application process for all local grantors. That's so true. That's so true. And I'm told that the mayor could veto the $10,000. I've asked a formal request to the mayor's office whether or not she's going to veto this. Have not heard back. That was just sent early this morning.
The city attorney could say skaramus and not bless it.
Yeah, and we don't know which fiscal agent's going to step up to be the fiscal agent because they have to have that in place as well. And I don't know if it'll be SRAC, if it'll be somebody else. SRAC was mentioned during the meeting, but they had not been approached yet. 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Right now it's time for Shawnee.
Your morning espresso starts right here. It's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
If we're going to have corruption within the FBI that we give the most powerful tools of intelligence to, and if they're going to try and steal a presidential election, and if this is not found out to be abuse of power and what he did with Hillary, which there is incontrovertible evidence of her obstruction and of her crime, we will no longer be the United States of America, or we will be the United States of America in name only. We will really be Venezuela, a banana republic, the former Soviet Union. That means we will have a two-tier justice system. No equal justice under the law. No equal application of our laws. And if they can attempt this, God knows what else other people are capable of.
The Sean Hannity Show from coast to coast later today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. It's the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Milam Street near Blanchard Road. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. Robert is off today, came up with some sort of virus for Triskaidekaphobia Day, and is out. Dan Keel is here.
I'm ill, but I'm here.
Lots to do this morning. We're talking more about the Shreveport Urban Film Festival. Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch will join us, we hope about 8:40 this morning. And there's a group, Caddo Lake's Last Stand. They're opposing the Caddo Lake National Heritage Act. Senator Bill Cassidy is pushing for that. He'll join us in just a few minutes to talk about that. Also coming up in the news, 2 people dead in a crash on I-49. We'll have more on that. Louisiana and executions. It's been halted for quite some time. We'll have an update there as well. And we have Tim Fletcher, sports coming up, along with traffic and weather together, or on the way right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
information. KEEL News now.
Tragedy on I-49 claims 2 lives. Matt Parker with that.
2 people are dead and 2 others are injured following a late-night crash on I-49. One of those hurt is a Shreveport police officer. An SUV with 2 women inside were driving down I-49 south near Kings Highway in the wrong direction. The SUV collided with a pickup truck. The officer was behind the truck and could not avoid the accident. The 2 women from the SUV died in the wreck. The man from the pickup is suffering from life-threatening injuries. The officer was hurt, but is expected to make a full recovery. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Isaiah Martin, the man accused of shooting at police during a traffic stop on June 30th, is now behind bars. Martin was found hiding out in an apartment on Wagner Avenue. Kenneth Mitchell, whose apartment Martin was hiding in, was also arrested. Martin was taken to the hospital following his arrest to be treated for a gunshot wound he suffered during his shootout with police. A missing girl found, the caregiver now facing charges. 6-year-old Talia Wilson was reported missing by her family yesterday. She was found safe and sound in Alexandria with the woman who was supposed to be watching her, Charlotte Hodge. Hodge has now been arrested. The investigation continues. A Bossier Teens Island getaway becomes a nightmare. Blake Spatero spent nearly 10 hours fighting for his life out in the ocean. He was sitting on the shore at St. Simons Island when a riptide washed him out into the ocean. He spent the next 10 hours screaming and fighting to survive off the Georgia coast. Eventually, the teen washed ashore near a golf course and was able to get help. He remains hospitalized, but says he's blessed to be alive. If you need a job, well, Bentler Steel kicking off their job fair today. The company hosting a career fair in Bipsy's Emmett Cope Student Services Building. The event kicks off at 5 o'clock this afternoon and runs until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Bentler, hoping to find quality skilled workers, plans to hire 75 people over the next 6 months. If you're searching for a place to retire, Bankrate says you may not want to look at the Bayou State. Louisiana is listed as the 4th worst retirement destination in the country. Analyst Taylor Tepper says there's several reasons why Louisiana is at the bottom.
The overall well-being score was very, very low. Crime, it's a high crime state. Cultural vitality, the sort of cultural things to do per person, fared pretty poorly. And healthcare quality didn't do very well either.
California and New York joined Louisiana in the bottom 5. South Dakota ranked number 1. Improvements to federal fisheries policy, an issue pushed by Congressman Garrett Graves, advances in the Senate as the House passed the bill strengthening fishing communities and increasing flexibility in the Fisheries Management Act. Graves says the original legislation made in the 70s may have been okay at the time, but it's now outdated.
People who like to fish are being boxed out increasingly from being able to fish in a place like Sportsman's Paradise. We certainly can't have that happen.
Graves says the bill also addresses the concerns created by the influx of imported fish. Detaining immigrant children has morphed into a surging industry in the U.S. It now reaps $1 billion a year. That's a tenfold increase over the past decade. And police in Massachusetts say 3 men seen on social media video blowing marijuana smoke in a goat's face and laughing have been charged with animal cruelty. The police chief in Taunton says his department was notified about the video, which shows the men removing the goat from an outdoor pen and putting a chain around its neck and then blowing the smoke into the goat's face. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
What interest rate would
1017 FM 710 Keel. Ruben with a check of traffic.
Still keeping an eye on some backed up traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
.1017 FM 710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is on vacation this week. I got my pal Dan Keel in studio with me.
Hey.
And we're joined by our friend Senator Bill Cassidy. Today, twice in 1 week. Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you, Erin. I always like talking to y'all.
We got to talk about this thing that's brewing with regard to Caddo Lake, the National Heritage Act. You are supporting this. It would create a national heritage area for Caddo Lake, 900 acres or so. First off, I guess the big question is, why do we want to do this?
Well, first, I only support it if the community wants it. Just make that clear. And the reason that you want to do it is for the entire time I've been in the Senate and before, because I spent time in Shreveport before, is that folks have told me that they're tired of their young people leaving, that they move to Houston, Atlanta, or Dallas. They take their children with them. Their children grow up to be Longhorn fans, not LSU Tiger fans, and they feel like they've lost. If you look at statistics, Caddo has lost about 10,000 people over the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. You think those are young people bringing their kids. So this is something which community, if a community wants it, can use to drive cultural activities. Natchitoches area has one. It's created 1,500 jobs. It's brought in about $17 million, so according to the people who organized it. You can imagine those cultural events are the sort of thing that keep young people engaged. I speak to small-town mayors. One of them told me, my town's dying on the vine. This is the way you get a small town to be able to accentuate their history, make it a better place for a young person to think about staying, and hopefully help keep it going, revitalize it.
A national heritage area, does it come with some federal money for promoting such events?
Totally. It's a grant. It's only for cultural and historical factors. It's got no impact upon property rights, none whatsoever. It explicitly says, you do what you want with your property. Folks have been nervous about that, but I point out that since they did the one down in the Natchitoches area, that since they started, they've developed the Haynesville Shale. Now, since they started, they did the Haynesville Shale, which is about mineral rights, property rights, and water rights. So it's only about grants for cultural and historical activities. But now you go to Natchitoches, it's a happening place. I know a guy from St. Mary's Parish. He bought a home on Cane River just because he likes to go up there and participate in it. He could go any place in the world, but he decided because it's easy to get to and it's got so much going on, he wanted to be there. That's what my vision, my hope is for Caddo, but only if the people want it. If they don't want it, we stop it. But if they want it, then, my gosh, I want to help keep those young people in town.
Have you studied it already? I thought there was already some land use planning and some surveys.
No, there's no surveys. I mean, the only thing you would say is where would the boundaries be, but the boundaries are up in the air. I mean, there's nothing to survey. You don't lose property rights. All it is grant money for cultural events and historical factors, period. End of story.
Let me ask you this, Senator. Folks have been posting, they've created a anti-Facebook page, whatever, saying that if you decide to cut timber on your property, ecologists could deem it not beneficial to the environment and stop you from doing that. Is that false?
No, that's totally wrong. And again, you can look at what's happened. Baton Rouge is part of a National Heritage Area. Baton Rouge. And they got all kinds of development there. If you want, we posted on our website, if you go to cassidy.senate.gov/Caddo, you'll come up with frequently asked questions. No impact on property rights. You can do what you want. But if the community doesn't want it, we won't do it. But hopefully, if we do it, then that will be one more reason for a young person to stay and to raise her kids in her hometown as opposed to Houston.
Does it sort of become part of the national park system?
Nope, not part of the national park system. It's a different animal, and all it is the vehicle for the entire state of Tennessee is a National Heritage Area. Think about that, the entire state. And so don't hear any complaints from Tennessee. They're booming. They're doing fantastic, not just because of this, but obviously they want to play up their country music and such like that. And so all it is, it gives the ability to compete for grants that then leverage local dollars to try and come up with a heritage trail so that somebody might want to come and listen to a local music festival or go see where the first place that underwater oil development took place or something like that, and hopefully bring local dollars to communities that want more dollars.
Senator, it sounds like a no-brainer, but there are some who are saying, then why haven't we had public hearings? Where are the public meetings that are going to be held? That's coming, isn't it?
Well, let me just apologize. I just thought there was more awareness of it. I am so sorry for that, and I just want to emphasize, if the community doesn't want it, we're not going to push it. But I have been hearing that people want to do something to promote the economy, to keep their people home in Caddo, not let them move to Texas or Georgia. We are going to have telephone town halls. Obviously, we're talking to you. We've been on the radio. We've been on the newspaper. I've been calling some of the folks who are very concerned, reaching out to them directly. Well, Mike Johnson's been doing the same. But if it turns out the community doesn't want it, hey, boom, we'll do away with it. But if the community wants it, then, my gosh, I want to support the community.
Bill Cassidy, folks can find out more about this law. Where's the best place to go look at it?
Cassidy.senate.gov/Caddo. And so go to our website. If you want, just search Caddo, but /Caddo. Frequently asked questions. And then the woman who headed the place down there around Natchitoches called Cane River, she's made herself available. And so I think we have some stats from Cane River there, but you can probably just Google their website. And they love it. I mean, I was on the radio earlier this week, and one of the moderators, his father has property on it. And he was like, "It's been no big deal, but it certainly helped us. We've got a lot more stuff going on."
Gotcha.
So it's been good.
Gotcha. Senator Bill Cassidy, look forward to following this, and if you need to get another update out there, please let us know.
Hey, thank you, Erin. Thank you, Dan.
You bet. Senator Bill Cassidy, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Right now, time to check in with Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on some backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and sun today. A thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. High 95. Partly cloudy and warm with a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
.1017 FM and 710 Keel. Here is Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. After delivering a championship this past spring, Carlos Zernis is leaving the Shreveport Mudbugs to take a coaching position with the NCAA Division I University of Alaska Fairbanks hockey squad. Zernis is the only coach the 2-year-old North American Hockey League edition of Mudbugs has had. After a playoff bid in year one, Zernis and the Mudbugs went the distance in year two, winning the Robertson Cup with a 2-1 win over Minot in May in the title tilt. Assistant coach Jason Soupy Campbell is expected to take over the top spot. Both Campbell and Zernis played for the Bugs during the franchise's minor league years. Oakland rallied past Houston 6-4 Thursday with a 3-run 8th inning serving as the catalyst. The A's won 3 of 4 games in Minute Maid Park, but are still 8 games behind the Astros in the American League West. Former LSU Tiger Alex Bregman continued his torrid first half of the season with a 2-run double for the Stros. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.1017 FM, 710 Keel. Isn't that getting jiggly with it? Is that the name of that?
No. That's what you do.
Dan Keel is in for Robert. He's on vacation this week.
Someone help me. I got to work. Robert's on vacation today.
Yeah, he's out today.
Just today. He just has that trichomania or whatever.
Yeah, triskaidekaphobia. Yeah, that's what he's got.
Trichomoniasis
He'll be back on Monday. Next week is when things really get zooming.
They get official.
Yeah, they get official. Qualifying for the election is next week. What are the dates? July 18th through 20th, I think. And the mayor's race is the one everybody's watching. Dan, let me ask you. I haven't asked you this. Maybe have, off the air. Would you be surprised if Ollie Tyler did not qualify?
I have been saying for some time that if she sees the handwriting on the wall, she may graciously opt out at some point. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I know that she's done a lot of things and she feels like she has more work to accomplish.
Right.
But if it looks like she's going to get her butt kicked, she might go to the House.
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility.
I think she's in. I think she's all in. We shall see if this Alan Crump stuff, if that's going to be, detrimental to her campaign. I'm not sure.
She's the one that's calling the shots on the way things look.
Right, right.
He's really kind of, I hate to say he's a puppet, but he's really kind of between a rock and a hard place between Crawford and Tyler, telling him what to do or not do or sit down.
Yeah. The Adrian Perkins, Greg Tarver thing will probably heat back up next week because Greg Tarver told me when he and I had a convo a couple of weeks ago, he said he's not supporting Perkins anymore. He's not a man of his word.
And everybody wanted to question that. Does he really mean it? Is it sincere? Blah, blah, blah.
Or was it a ploy?
What I heard was a lot less politically correct than what you put on the air.
Yeah.
But whatever happened there, I don't think was a political maneuver. I think
it was real personal. Real personal. But he did tell me, Senator Tarver did tell me when I asked him, because, the conversation was more than just what I posted. He did say he'll be looking to see if there's somebody else in the race he can support, and he wouldn't go on the air with us until after qualifying. I said, you'll do that then? He said, oh, absolutely. So I'm wondering, who does he pick?
Do you think Tarver and Cedric will both be backing the same horse in Steven Jackson?
No chance.
I have seen
Ollie. He might, or he might support one of the white guys, I was told.
I have seen Ollie. No, I've seen Cedric and Greg Tarver actually agree on things. It's rare.
Yeah, it is rare.
But they both have concerns for the same community.
And the reason, if you're just kind of on this political train in Shreveport, you have two political camps in the African American community. You have the Greg Tarver camp, and you have the Cedric Glover camp, which is an offshoot of the Alphonse Jackson camp.
That's been historically correct,
right?
But I don't think that we're bound by that. That's what I keep saying.
No, I think you're probably right.
If the dog in the hunt that's going to win is attractive to Senator Tarver and he can get behind him, I don't think it will matter if he worked for Cedric at one point.
So you conceivably could see Greg Tarver supporting Steven Jackson.
And Steven Jackson may have some loyalty and some affinity having worked with Cedric, but he's not Cedric's boy. I'm just telling you. And he may be further out on some of the right-wing things.
Yeah.
He may be out there with Talaferro.
If I were to ask you today to give me the two front runners in the mayor's race, just as an observer, you're kind of an insider, you're inside the outer beltway or whatever you want to call it.
I listen to people.
Who would you say are your top two front runners in the mayor's race?
Can I tell you who I think it's not going to be?
Yeah, let's do that.
Mr. Leo Savage.
Really?
He's getting some traction on Facebook, but I don't think he's conducting his campaign in a way that's going to get the massive double digits he needs to get into a runoff.
Really? What would you advise him to change things?
Talk about issues. Talk about merits. Quit trying to be popular.
Okay.
He's running. I go to church and I'm a good guy and look at these cute things I post. And when you ask him, he's already trying to say he was going to have the police chief. I don't think that's a good idea either.
Yeah.
Let's see who else running the mayor. Obviously, he's running. At this point, unless something really knocks her out, she's the presumed front runner because of her incumbency.
Absolutely.
Jim Talaferro is popular among a group of people, but he doesn't have a whole lot of widespread appeal.
Who is the Victoria Provenza in this race? I mean, she got in the runoff last time.
They come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Slightly avant-garde.
Is there one there?
No, I think maybe some people want to be, but that's what I was talking about already with Mr. Savage. We may be surprised who actually jumps in. That's why I keep saying until qualifying, it's all just speculation.
Yeah. Going to be fun. It all kicks
and
off
the council
next week.
races are really going to get.
so
They're going to get
many.
interesting, and I predict there are going to be some people. Your millennial folks are going to be.
Big
running,
time.
running.
Absolutely. Because Oliver Jenkins is my councilman. I live in his district, and he's termed out. So
Jeff Everson's termed out, right?
Yeah, and Michael Corbin's termed. It's all going to be new faces. Willie Bradford's not running. New faces.
Have we talked about that at all?
A little bit, just a little bit. He's decided he's not going to run for re-election.
That surprised me.
That really was surprising. It definitely was. Coming up in the next 20 minutes, less than 10 minutes, Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch is going to join us. She supports the city funding for the Shreveport Urban Film Festival.
It's her bill.
And she will explain why she supports it, why she thinks it's a good idea. That is coming up right here on 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Right now, here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on some backed-up traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and sun today. A thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. High 95. Partly cloudy and warm with a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
2 women dead, 2 others are hurt following a late-night crash on I-49. One of those hurt is a Shreveport police officer. The accident happened around 11:30 last night. An SUV with 2 women inside headed down I-49 south near Kings Highway in the wrong direction. That SUV collided with a pickup truck head-on. The officer was behind the truck and couldn't avoid the crash. The 2 women in the SUV died in the wreck. The man from the pickup is recovering, but said to have life-threatening injuries. The officer was hurt, but is expected to make a full recovery. A man accused of shooting at police has now been arrested. Matt Parker has the latest.
Isaiah Martin, the man accused of shooting at police during a traffic stop on June 30th, has been arrested. Martin was found hiding out in an apartment on Wagner Street. Kenneth Mitchell, whose apartment Martin was hiding out in, was also arrested. Martin was taken to the hospital following his arrest to be treated for a gunshot wound he suffered during a shootout with police. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
A missing girl is found. A caregiver arrested. Talia Wilson, a 6-year-old girl who was reported missing by her family yesterday, was found safe and sound. Wilson was found in Alexandria with the woman who was supposed to be watching her, Charlotte Hodge. Hodge has been arrested. An investigation into the incident is ongoing. A Bossier Teens Island getaway becomes quite a nightmare. Blake Spataro spent nearly 10 hours fighting for his life in the ocean. He was sitting on the shore at St. Simon's Island when a riptide washed him out into the sea. He spent the next 10 hours screaming and fighting to survive. Eventually, the teen washed ashore near a golf course and was able to get help. Spataro remains hospitalized but says he's blessed to be alive. London's Mayor Sadiq Khan has urged Brits attending protest against President Trump not to cause any trouble.
Any protest is peaceful and good-spirited. It's really important we realise that one of the things about a special relationship is, of course, we stand together at times of adversity, shoulder to shoulder. But when we think our best friend is being wrong or not meeting our high standards from them, we call them out. And that's what I think you'll see Londoners who love Americans, love America, being disappointed about some of the views expressed by President Trump and calling him out.
President Trump had attacked Khan over his handling of terrorism in that city. If you need a job, well, Bentler Steel holding a job fair at Bipsy. It kicks off at 5 o'clock this afternoon and runs until 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Bentler is looking to find quality skilled workers, plans to hire 75 people over the next 6 months. Louisiana in the bottom 5 for best places to retire. Bankrate's Taylor Tepper says outside of some pockets of activity, cultural activities in Louisiana are scarce.
It uses per person, so per capita, the concentration of creative activity in a region compared to the U.S. At the same time, if you live in New Orleans or you live in a college town, there may be things there.
South Dakota rated the #1 place for retirees. Fewer and fewer workplaces require ties these days, but the mayor of one California town wants them banned altogether.
The mayor of Lancaster, California, wants to ban neckties from the workplace because they restrict blood flow to the brain. Our Rex Paris says he came up with the brainstorm after reading a science blog which claimed that neckties restrict 7.5% of blood to the brain. He's not the first to address the issue. The New York City Human Rights Commission opposes neckties for a different reason, saying making men wear ties is like requiring women to wear skirts. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
The owner of a bed and breakfast in Hawaii loses her court fight. She turned away a lesbian couple who wanted to rent a room. A lower court ruled the owner discriminated, and now a higher court agrees. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Triskaidekaphobia Day. Happy
Can you
Friday
say that on the radio?
I mess it up all the time, so I'm having to say it so I don't screw it up, because I screw it up all the time. And Robert doesn't even let me say it, so since he's not here, I'm going to say it. Triskaidekaphobia, fear of Friday the 13th. I needed a tech guy last night, and I could not find one. By the way, Stephanie Lynch is going to join us next
Soon.
to talk about the Shreveport Urban Film Festival and funding from the city for that. She supported it. She pushed it. There's this little app I'm hooked on now. It's called HQ Trivia. And I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but this app, they do a trivia thing every evening. I think they may do it twice a day, but every evening, 8 o'clock our time, 12 questions. There are like 1 million people each night on this app answering these stupid questions, 12 questions.
And some of them seem so easy.
Oh, the first few are very easy. I mean, a moron can answer them. And, you know, you answer all 12, you win a share of the money. And every night it's $5,000. Sunday nights it's like 25 or 50 grand. Last night was tech night. I'm such a moron.
Tech questions?
Yeah, they were tech questions about, you know, which is a social media site? Bing, Facebook, Instagram. Okay, we got that. I got Bing is not a social media. I mean, they were really stupid in the beginning, but then they delved off into the harder questions, and I got toasted.
Like, how do you use Google?
Yeah, how did you know I missed that
get Dan
question?
and Matt to do it. It's easy.
Oh, man. But, you know, I'm hooked on it, and I got to watch out because you're doing something, and at 8 o'clock it'll pop up. Are you ready to play?
My daughter and I were at Taco Mania having a great time, and all of a sudden, boom, she had this
stop. Yeah. You get hooked on it. You do. You get hooked on it. Stephanie Lynch joins us next to talk about the Shreveport Urban Film Festival. We'll get her take on that coming up right here, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
The intersection at Kings Highway and Line Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now, and we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Traffic Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and sun today. A thunderstorm in spots this afternoon. High 95. Partly cloudy and warm with a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is off today. My buddy Dan Keel is here in studio.
Good morning.
We're joined by Shreveport City Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch. Good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning.
You supported the funding of $10,000 for the woman who has organized the Shreveport Urban Film Festival.
Yes, I actually authored the legislation.
Did she come to you seeking the funding? Did you tell her about it? How did that start?
Well, let me say, I'm the chair of the Multicultural Committee for the City Council, and this is a multicultural event, and that is why I authored the legislation.
But Oliver Jenkins had said something to us that she didn't even know there was funding available, that somebody made her aware of it. Can you explain that?
There are a lot of people who are not particularly aware that the city has funding, for events, and so it's constantly a process where we're educating the public about, opportunities to partner with the city for events. So I'm not sure, if she knew or if she didn't know. If she said she didn't, then I can't dispute that.
This is a not-for-profit thing the city does. Don't you have to fund not-for-profits and you can't fund for-profits?
No, we do not fund for-profit.
What is this lady? This lady
Correct.
has every marking of being an entrepreneur. I mean, she could go back and form a foundation, a nonprofit group, and form this great idea, and then it'd be different than it is we're talking about, right?
Well, she is a local entrepreneur, and she's presented a festival. She's founded a festival that I think is a great addition to the arts community, and I'm just hoping that it's very successful and will continue to grow as other events have in our city.
How are you going to make it legal this year?
Well, it is legal. It's already legal. And, it's not odd. And I think I said to Erin, this is not, my first rodeo with dealing with, entities that are new, either to our city or, people putting on new events. There are ways to work with fiscal agents, such as the Regional Arts Council, Shreveport Regional Arts Council, and other entities in partnership that allows for founders of film festivals such as this one to have a fiscal agent. So it is legal.
Why the last minute? That's my issue with it. She's got these films in the can. She's been working on this for a while. Why such a rush?
Well, I don't think there's a rush, Erin. If you're familiar with our appropriation process, people put in applications the year before, but we actually don't do appropriation sometimes until mid-year. So a lot of organizations that we end up funding, whether that's been Robinson Film Center, whether that's been Sideport, the Waterworks Museum, the Miss America pageant, which, we appropriated funding for 6 weeks before the event when monies had already been expended, and actually ended up spending way more than that. But that's not unusual for appropriations to occur either close to or even after entities have started spending money, because we don't start the process at the beginning of the year. We've started as late as July in some cases.
The code in the city's charter says you can't provide city funds for any event, activity, endeavor which discriminates against persons by reason of race, color, sex, national origin, or religion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that does not play in this at all?
No, I don't think it plays in it at all, because I think it says either the director or producer has to be African American, which I think promotes partnerships. It encourages partnerships. And it's no different than having a quote-unquote woman-owned business that has to be at least 51% owned by a female. That's not discriminatory.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different.
Would you be surprised if the mayor vetoed this measure?
It legally passed the council. The legislation is structured that it has to be approved by the city attorney. All of the checks and balances are in place. I just think some people are having a hard time, as people would do, and I think I posted some other festivals on your website,
Mm-hmm.
Polish Festival, Jewish Festival, Hispanic Festival. This is nothing odd, but we're in a city that is 60% African American. We have a local young, and we're losing young people, young African American female that is bringing an addition to our arts community, and because it has the word urban in it, this is maybe another hood,
right.
Situation where some people are just, if it says urban, it says black. If it says, something, a term that people are not comfortable with or familiar with, people get up in arms. We've got to move beyond that.
I'm not hearing anybody say that, though. I'm not hearing criticism because it's a black thing. I'm hearing it because it's a privateer.
Well, no, I don't think that's really. I think that's being used as a cover for some other things.
Oh, it's code.
Yes,
I think she's right about that. I think she. Let me ask you, Stephanie. Are you confident? I mean, you've not been involved in, legal scandals, I guess. Where you've done something that folks would say you should go to jail for. I guess maybe there are some that might say that. I don't know, but that you feel confident that this is legal. That if this check is ever written, it will be above board.
Erin, and I appreciate you saying that, because I've been in this politics for 14 years, and I've sponsored a lot of legislation. I've supported a lot of legislation. When I did not feel something was legal or appropriate, such as the Elio Motors, I actually filed suit to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
So I am definitely not going to support something that I feel is illegal, which I did feel that was an illegal donation of public funds. And I filed suit with my own personal money. So no, I am not going to support anything that does not pass legal muster.
Shreveport City Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch, thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
1017 FM 710 Keel. We'll check in with Ruben and traffic coming up next.
The intersection at North Market and North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're looking at some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
Earlier this week, the Shreveport City Council voted to give $10,000 to the Shreveport Urban Film Festival.
But is this really a good use of city funds? I mean, especially considering everything else that is facing the city. The city charter actually says the public funds or property of the city shall not be donated to any for-profit organization, business, or venture, and yet we did. The charter also says that public funds or property of the city shall not be donated, loaned, or pledged to any person except for public purposes, and yet we did. And it says that it shall not be donated in any event which discriminates against persons by reason of color, race, sex, national origin, or religion, and yet we did.
Whenever government tries to do something it's not supposed to do, it never ends up doing it well.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert's gone, Dan Keel here.
You haven't threatened to take away our man cards, and so I'm not cringing this morning.
No, I have been asked to come judge what is going to be a new event, a Bubba hog calling contest.
Can I enter?
And they're going to request funds from the city. I think it's going to be for white bubbas.
There's going to be lots of muck, I think, involved in that.
That's what they're claiming. They're saying, and I don't know if they're just joking. I think they are just joking, I hope. But, there's going to be more to this Shreveport Urban Film Festival thing coming up. I don't know that the check will ever be written.
I think if I were her, I'd pass and get the stuff lined up for next time.
Line it up for next year. I have asked if the mayor's going to veto it. I formally sent an email to the mayor and her city attorney to see if she's going to veto the legislation. And I haven't heard back yet. But if I do, of course, I will let you know. Golly, that's a wrap today. Robert will be back with us on Monday. Dan, thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
Absolutely been a great day. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Kim.
It's Christmas. The rate of consumers dropping cable and satellite hit its highest level ever, and streaming TV continues strong growth. But as USA Today reports, big tech may be about to shoot itself in the foot as it tries to introduce customers to the very thing they're running from. Kim Commando with your Friday Consumer Tech Update. Cable bundling forces customers to buy channels they don't want to get the few they do. It's the driving force behind cord cutting. But suddenly, cord cutters are reporting an increase in their streaming TV costs. And get ready for it, channel bundling. That's right. Streaming services like Sling TV, DirecTV Now, and PlayStation Vue are all increasing prices and forcing bundles of channels on their customers. So a word of caution to cable and would-be cutters. If you buy streaming bundles, but you still want Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu, you'll soon be racking up charges that are very close to your old monthly cable bill. I'm Kim Commando. Over the years, I've tried and tested every way that average people can and should back up the data on their computers. And I'll tell you, hands down, that iDrive is simply the best cloud backup service there is. 3 big reasons why. First, it's the easiest to use. I back up everything, all my computers, smartphones, iPads, tablets, everything to just one single iDrive account. Second, it's the most secure. With iDrive snapshots, I'll never lose even a single byte of data and never pay a penny because of ransomware. And third, it's cost effective. If you're using any other cloud backup or storage service, switch to iDrive today and get an amazing 90% off the first year. So protect your PCs, your Macs, mobile devices, and even servers with just one iDrive account. PC Magazine's Editor's Choice for more than 3 years running. Switch to iDrive today from any competing service and get 90% off the first year. Use my name Kim as your promo code. That's iDrive.com, promo code Kim.
The intersection at North Market and North Hearn Avenues dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're looking at some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, a spotty thunderstorm this afternoon. Otherwise, clouds and sun today with a high of 95. Warm with patchy clouds and a low of 77 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEE.